focus, we head to Ukraine, where protests continue against the government's rejection of the EU trade agreement. 45% of Ukrainians are in favor of closer ties with the EU. Only 15 favor closer ties with Moscow. And yet, it is the economic pressure that was brought to bear on Ukraine that made Viktor Yanukovych change his mind about moving towards the EU. This report by Gulliver Cragg and Alexander Davidchuk.
Few peoples wave EU flags with quite the enthusiasm of the Ukrainians. It might not always look that way from the inside, but seen from Kiev, the European Union is an inspiration.
We want the European law, European education, European works, and we want to be as all European countries.
We strongly believe God will help us to get out from Russia.
Association with EU is an anti-corruptional measure, and we must have it.
Tens of thousands demonstrated in Kiev last Sunday to demand their government sign a deal with the European Union. There have been daily protests and pickets of government offices for a week now. The government, though, has stood its ground and even blamed the EU for the debacle.
We did not receive the help we needed at the toughest and most important moment.
Ukraine says it needs help to compensate for lost Russian markets if it signs with the EU. Yet Mykola Azarov refused to criticize the Russians for their threats of economic retaliation.
Relations with Russia are normal. They say to us, not in any threatening way, like in the form of an ultimatum, but they say, if you open your borders, we'll have to close ours.
A smaller demonstration in support of the government also took place last Sunday, with business leaders appearing there to tell the crowds that not signing the pact now would protect jobs.
Let's build Europe in Ukraine.
The opposition says participants in this rally were paid to be there. Those kinds of allegations fly in all directions in Ukraine, where ads for crowds abound on the internet. Without specifying who the organizer is, this site is recruiting for a demo on Friday and offering €7 for taking part in the 5-hour event. The economic fears, though, are real and widely shared. Ukraine's economy has remained closely integrated with Russia's since Soviet times. A Russian ban on Ukraine's Roshen chocolate cost Roshen millions. The so-called chocolate war became emblematic of punitive measures from Moscow that actually affected a whole range of Ukrainian companies.
Ukraine has lost around a quarter of its trade turnover with Russia and nearly $2.5 billion worth of exports.
Giving the lie to this, though, the owner of Roshen, Petro Poroshenko, has been demonstrating with the pro-Europeans.
If the price for the independence of my state would be the price which Roshen paid, we are ready to pay that.
The problem is, Russia is also prepared to pay a very high price to keep Ukraine within its fold. And while Ukrainians may long for the European way of life, to the country's leaders, Brussels is being outbid.
It is 51 minutes past 7 here in France. We're going to have a look now at the very latest sports headlines.
Ligue 1 side Lyon joined visitors Real Betis in the last 32 of the Europa League, with victory at the Stade Gerland in their Group I clash. The La Liga side almost took the lead on the hour mark, but Shuli hit the woodwork after Samuel Umtiti's poor back pass. And 6 minutes later, Yoann Gourcuff and Alexandre Lacazette combined to lay it on a plate for Bafétimbi Gomis, who beat goalkeeper Stefan Andersson. A wonderful goal from Remy Gard's men. Shuli almost level for Betis in stoppage time, but the Spaniards slip to their first group stage defeat. So Lyon leapfrog Betis to go top of Group I. Vitoria Guimarães missed the chance to keep their chances alive with a scoreless draw with Rijeka. Betis beat the Portuguese home and away, meaning they qualify thanks to their better head-to-head record. Lyon and Betis will battle to top the group. Bordeaux needed to win their Group F clash against Bundesliga strugglers Eintracht Frankfurt to stay in the Europa League. Henry Save produced an audacious overhead kick in the 56th minute, but was denied by Kevin Trapp at the Stade Chabon-Dalmas. The Ligue 1 side were made to pay for their missed chances when Frankfurt stole the points 7 minutes from time. Tranquillo Barnetta's clever turn and cross found substitute Martin Lanik, who buried the winner to delight the 12,000-strong travelling support. Frankfurt topped the group. Frankfurt's victory in France means they are the group winners and through to the knockout stages. Bordeaux are out, while Maccabi Tel Aviv and Apoel will battle it out for the final last 32 berth. The pair drew twice without a goal scored, but Maccabi's three-point advantage and better goal difference should see them through. The Israelis host Bordeaux in their final game. Nanterre picked up a vital win in EuroLeague Basketball's Group A after edging a thriller against Partizan at Belgrade. Partizan shaded the first quarter, but Nanterre fought back in the second. A three-pointer from Dishon Thomas putting the French club up by 3. David Lighty, one of 3 Nanterre players to reach double digits, threw down this dunk as the home side increased their advantage. Dragan Milo-Savoyevich connected from beyond the arc to draw Partizan to within 2. But this one would go down to the wire, though. Trenton Michon was fouled with 5.9 seconds left and made both free throws to put Nanterre ahead. Milo-Savoyevich then missed at the buzzer as Nanterre held on 62-61 to strengthen their grip on 4th place. French rugby clubs are to remain in the Heineken Cup for at least another year. France's top 14 sides voted in favour of the current setup after talks with the French Rugby Federation. An Anglo-French alliance had planned to form a rival competition because of concerns over qualification criteria and money distribution, but English clubs now appeared isolated. Martin Fourcade powered to victory in the men's individual 20K at the Biathlon World Cup opener in Östersund on Thursday. It was a total contrast in fortunes for the Frenchman, whose mistake cost his country a podium place in Sunday's mixed relay as he won in emphatic style at the Swedish resort. The two-time defending overall champion hit all 20 targets as he crossed the line over 2 minutes ahead of his nearest rival. Simon Eder was no match for Fourcade, but the Austrian did enough to finish second, missing it just once at the shooting range. He was just able to hold off this man, fellow Austrian Daniel Mesotic, who also had just one shooting error over 4 rounds as he finished third, 14 seconds behind Eder. Fourcade, though, far too good on the day as he picked up his 25th career World Cup win. The 2015 Tour de France will begin in the Dutch city of Utrecht. The race's organisers announced on Thursday. The 102nd edition of cycling's most famous race will start with a 13.7-kilometre time trial around Utrecht, which will become the 6th Dutch city to stage the Tour's Grand Départ. The second stage will also start in Utrecht, and Tour director Christian Prudhomme praised the city for the way it has integrated cycling into its day-to-day life. We're certain to find passion out there. There's passion, enthusiasm, desire and love for cycling and the Tour de France that's lived daily. In the Netherlands, there are more bikes than habitants, and in Utrecht, there are even more bikes than habitants. It's a big cycling city, so we'll go and meet not only the passion, but also the youth. Utrecht will follow in the footsteps of Amsterdam, Scheveningen, Leiden, Hertogenbosch and Rotterdam as Dutch cities to host the Tour's opening.
Showing Utrecht to the world, so you have hours of live covering of the first stage and a big part of the second stage, because on the second day, on Sunday, they will stay in the city for approximately, I think, 25 to 30 kilometers.
Despite a rich cycling history, the Netherlands has only produced 2 Tour winners, Jan Janssen in 1968 and Joep Zoetemelk in 1980.
There, look there at the very latest sports headlines. It is 56 minutes past 7 here in Paris. In just a couple of minutes, the latest international headlines. The very latest, of course, from Vilnius, where day 2 of the EU summit with 6 former Soviet republics has kicked off. You're looking at the live pictures there from the opening of the second day of the Vilnius summit. Hopes have all but faded that the Ukrainian President Viktor Yanukovych, however, will change his mind and in fact sign the free trade agreement that is on the table. We'll be following those negotiations throughout the day for you here on France 24.